one of the things that we've been talking about all morning is the migration crisis, and I was slightly blown away by several people saying to me that politicians nowadays, not just really about elections, but certainly we're 18 months away, are very good at sound bites. Going to stop the boats, going to cure the NHS. So this report out today is apparently going to deal with long-term problems, most specifically about a lack of staff. The ideas, as we said, shorter medical degrees, apprenticeships and more money. What are your thoughts on that, Martin? Will it make a difference, or is it more Sunak window dressing?
Well, the first thing to say, I think, Jeremy, is that it is only a plan. And the NHS love plans. They do lots and lots of plans about everything and spend a lot of time and energy doing them. The only issue will be is whether it's ever implemented. And that is where I have some doubts. So, yes, it may just be a soundbite. I think the second thing is, if this plan, and it doesn't actually get released in full until 9 o'clock this morning, so in about 20 minutes' time, but if this plan actually doesn't include anything about social care, which is supposed to be integrated now with the NHS. We have one minister who is the Minister for Health and Social Care. If it doesn't include social care, then it has got absolutely no chance of going anywhere, because the same set of problems will continue to be here and get worse.
Alex Phillips, your response.
Right, a couple of things. First of all, I don't understand why for so long we've had a cap on the number of medical students when we constantly have shortages. Secondly, I don't understand why nurses need degrees to practice. They should be able to be trained on the wards. Thirdly, I actually live next door to a top oncologist from Turkey who's been over in the country now for almost 5 years. He wants to become a GP here. We desperately need GPs. The barriers for him entering the workforce are insane. He's having to wait a year to take his first exam. Then he's got to wait
he's not
even
a legal
longer
migrant,
after.
is he?
No. He's here perfectly legally. He's actually potentially about to apply for British citizenship, and he is a top oncologist and he wants to practice. Why is he not being able to practice? I understand there have to be checks and balances, making sure people have good English language skills, making sure that their medical degrees are equivalent. But there's, like all of backlog Britain, there's a huge lag time in our system in enabling those who want to come and practice here to practice here. And frankly, every single time we see another NHS reform, I think how much time is spent on the bureaucracy of this, which is then not being allocated those energy and resources into the doing of what the NHS needs to be doing. Now, I've for a long time been fundamentally of the opinion, especially after living on the continent of Europe, that very often the systems they have over there, the European-based sort of insurance model, seems to be a lot more efficient. And I do wonder if we opened up the NHS to that sort of degree of privatisation, which as soon as you say it, people go, oh, you can't do that. It's going to be like America with people from pharma companies with clipboards. If then we did that, we'd probably then be able to attract the brightest and the best with competitive wages as well.
Martin, your response to that?
You know, I absolutely agree with Alex's points, actually, because this plan, without a plan for radical reform of the NHS, and I've been campaigning for a long time, for example, for elective work, hip replacement, so sort of more routine surgery work for which you book an appointment and you go in and you get it. I've been campaigning for a long time that should be absolutely open to the private sector. If we look at the European models, the one I'm most familiar with is the French model. Actually, although it is a socialized care system, it is also the provision of that system is actually done largely by charitable or indeed private organizations. And that is where we need to go. Because let's be honest, if I was setting up today an orthopedic unit to help the NHS get through their massive number of hip replacements, knee replacements, etc. they do, I would actually look for the very best orthopedic surgeons around the country, and I'd pay them what it took to get them. It'd be simple as that. This idea that the government decides, oh, you're a band G or a level 7 consultant, you can therefore earn that much. This is what is the core of what is wrong. And it's wrong. It creates the wrong culture in the NHS. It's the same with nurses. I have a close friend who is an oncology nurse. During the pandemic, she was actually assigned to giving people COVID injections and not seeing her patients. She runs her own clinics for cancer, but actually that she is paid quite well. But on the other hand, if she were in a private organization, she'd probably earn double. Can I just say one point about the NHS, though? My wife and I have both had recent needs to avail ourselves of the NHS, and where I live, in every aspect, the response and the care has been superb, and that was from the paramedics.
Can I actually add to that? And I know this from both of my parents a couple of years ago now. That's what frustrates me, and I'm not technical like you two, but what frustrates me is that I always believed that the welfare state and the NHS are two of the greatest inventions in the modern world, and I completely understood and believed why they worked or should work. The fact of the matter is, whether people think this is political or not, the NHS can be criticised in many ways. The people on the ground, when you need an ambulance and when you want treatment, cannot in any way be criticised. That's my humble opinion. What can be criticised is the money that's wasted, the money, all sorts of things that we know about. And it just, to me, it's a bit like, without wanting to make the same thing, it's a bit like our immigration system as well, Martin, without getting you involved in that. To me, these are great organisations that just don't damn well work anymore. When the NHS was set up, we didn't have an ageing population. We didn't have as many people as we've got now. We probably need 2.0. And of course, you want to get it away from headlines that it's just about money. But essentially, at the end of the day, you see another great British institution, for want of a better phrase, creaking, and that's really, really sad. Martin, thank you so much indeed for coming on. It's always a pleasure. Alex is going to stay. You're very kind.